been through a lot. Everybody who's in that war was through a lot. And you know, I was asked to talk about my World War II experiences, which would take quite a long time. So I'm going to confine my remarks to my last mission. It was the day our plane was shot down, the crew was shot down of Schweinfurt, Germany, October 14th, 1943. Now, I've written some notes down because at my age and memory lapse, since I'm 89 years old, and 90's coming up in February, so I forget things. So I had to write everything down to make sure that I cover what should be covered. And remember, I'm not a public speaker. Anyhow, if you bear with me, I'll try to tell you how it all started. My experience, December 7, 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, and they created the first axis of evil. You hear that word now every once in a while from the politicians, all that. Well, they created the first axis of evil. Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito. Germany, Italy, and Japan. And that started the whole ball rolling. Now, men and women went into the different military services, and others went into the manufacturing industry. They built airplanes, tanks, trucks, cars, whatever they needed, bombs, ammunition, everything was needed for the war effort. Those people all worked together side by side. And today they're called the greatest generation, and rightly so. And there were no war protesters at that time. It's amazing. It was a different generation altogether. I went into the Army Air Corps and trained for flight duty. And after basic training, I attended Amarillo Tech, the mechanics school. And then after that, I went to the Air Forces, the Air Corps, rather. We were Air Corps, not Air Force. To the Air Corps Flight Training School at Boeing Aircraft Factory in Seattle, Washington. Then came gunnery school. Air-to-air combat training to learn how to fly and shoot against planes that are coming at you. You've got two moving objects, you're moving, the other plane's moving. It's a little tricky, so you had to train for that. We had, on the desert, we did all the training, and we flew AT-6 planes. That was an open cockpit plane. It had a pilot in front, and right behind him the gunner, student, and between the two of them was a machine gun mounted up on the crossbar. The pilot attacked the cloth, soft target that was being towed by another plane. And he attacked that target in different directions. The gunner naturally shot at it, and the gunner had different colored bullets for each student. So when a bullet penetrated the cloth, the target itself, it left the color tip at the bullet hole. And that way they counted your score because you had to attain a certain level of accuracy before you got out of there or before you were permitted to fly on the plane as a gunner. Now, we had an incident one day. We're up over the desert, and this one plane, one of the students' planes, the engine shut down. It shut down, and the student, he stood up, and he was going to jump out. The pilot told him, no, don't do that. I'll get it started. So he's trying to start. We went down how many thousand feet, and the student got excited. He stood up in the plane, pulled his ripcord, and jumped over the side. Well, the chute came out, but before he cleared that plane, the chute itself was wrapped around the tail of the plane. Here's that plane flying around the desert, this guy hanging off of a parachute from the tail of the plane. Now, you know that plane's going to have to come down sooner or later. So you can imagine what happened, and I'm not going to get into gory detail. So anyhow, the instructions were for all the students, when you jump out of that plane, you roll forward onto the wing. You clear the wing, roll off the wing, and you clear the airplane, and you get down under the plane, then you pull the ripcord. did the opposite of everything he was told. It was an unfortunate situation. After training, our crew was formed. We were issued a B-17 Flying Fortress 4-engine bomber, and we went into a phase of flight formation training. You have to have a formation. And the idea is to get all the planes together to have a concentrated firepower on the enemy planes that are coming in at them. If you're separated, it's no good. You're going to be out there by yourself, and those enemy fighters will come in and pick you right off. They'll just get on you like bees on honey. And if you notice the picture here up on the screen, oh, there it is, excuse me. You notice here, we've got a concentration of planes, but out here, look where they're scattered around. You get out there by yourself like that, they're going to pick you off. They go after those planes first, just like hungry wolves. And it's just something that they practice and they have to do, that you can fly wing to wing and not crash into one another. And the formation is very important for the whole operation. After we get done with that phase training, we turn around and flew to England. We joined the Air Corps' 305th Bomber Group, 364th Squadron at Chelmsford, England, which is just a little bit out of England, or out of London, a few miles out of London, where the base was located. Now, almost all bases in England were on farmland. They were on farms. They didn't have enough airfields. Every wing had probably 25 different groups, and you know, there's all these planes, there was no place to put them. So they flew on farmland. And one good thing about it was, if you wanted milk, all you had to do was go out and milk a cow. And you know, I wasn't a milk drinker in those days. I was a flight engineer and gunner on a B-17 Flying Fortress named the Lazy Baby. That picture over there represents Lazy Baby, that's it. That plane is crewed by 10 men. Pilot, a co-pilot, 2 flight engineers, 2 radio operators, 2 armor specialists, 1 navigator, and 1 bombardier. The navigator and bombardier backed up one another, but you noticed everything else was in twos. It's a backup system. One gets incapacitated or something happens to him, the other one's there, but they can keep rolling and going. So it was a good backup system, and it worked. This crew was organized, and if you have a picture here of the crew. Now that was taken before we left the States. If you look at that crew, and I just named 10 men on that bomber, but if you count the heads on that picture, you got 9. The one on the right end is missing. He was late for everything, so the photography crew got tired of waiting, so they just took the picture without him. So it's something different than everybody else's picture. Now, everybody on that crew is a trained gunner. It helps because everybody fires a gun. And each airman has an assigned position on a plane. The navigator and bombardier are up on the front of the plane in the nose. And that nose is all glass. So right up here, they have 3 guns up there. 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and 1 straight out the front. Navigator's on the left side. He has a little shelf there where he puts all his navigation papers and maps, and he has the gun in front of him. The bombardier takes the gun that's right out in front, and he has the bomb sight right down on the floor at the glass between his feet. The gun on the right is alternated between those 2, depending what direction the flight is coming from, wherever the enemy's coming in. So they alternate between them 2. Then we have the top turret, which is right up here on top. And the top turret is manned by a gunner. And it's in the pilot's area. The pilots are up front here. Then we have the ball turret, which is underneath the plane here. It covers the whole underside of the plane. We have two waist guns, one on that side, one on this side. They're in the center of the plane, and they have a big window that their gun goes out. And they each fire, one from the left, one from the right, and when they're firing both of them at the same time, they're about this far apart, back to back. Then we have the tail gunner, naturally. The tail gunner's back to the end of the plane, taking care of everything that comes up from the rear. So you've got 12 machine guns in that plane. That's why they call it the Flying Fortress. They had B-24s in them days. Every time B-24 group came with us, we felt good because the fighters went after the B-24s and left us alone. We were so well armed. But at the same time, it was still tricky business and it was pretty hard fighting. Now, if you see here, this all positions are equipped with 50 caliber machine guns. And the shells, the belt, runs through the gun in a series. The first 3 shells are armor piercing. The 4th shell is incendiary. And the 5th shell is a tracer. Now the tracer helps the gunner bring his line of sight into the target. That's an awful thing up there when you got two moving together. One's doing maybe 200 miles an hour, the other one's doing 400. So you've got to be on the ball with it. So that tracer's help the gunners line of sight into the oncoming targets. And if you look here, could you back that slide up, please? If you see, there's a drawing of a 50 caliber machine gun looking out the waist window. That's a big gun, and it's heavy. You don't carry it around. It's mounted on a post, and on top of the post is a swivel that allows you to take the gun and move it up, down, wherever you have to go with it to follow any target. And this next photograph shows you the belt, which is takes the bullets in the belt goes into the gun, and as you fire intermittently. You cannot hold the trigger down on them guns, because if you do, you'll burn a barrel up, and then your bullets are coming out of a squiggly affair and don't do this. Now, them belts, we have maybe, I used to carry about 3-4 boxes of ammunition all the time. And you took the first belt, fed it into the gun, then you took the end of that belt out of the box, and you hooked it to the first belt to the next box. Then you took the last end of the belt from that second box, and you hooked it into the third box. So they were all hooked together. So once you started, the fight started, those belts were together that you didn't have to stop and start hooking up another belt when you ran out. So it worked. It was a pretty good system. Everything was a backup system. This photograph here shows you a machine gun mounted in the waist window with the belt going into it. People ask me, how many missions did you make as a flyer? And I always tell them one too many. That was the last one. That was the last one. Believe me. No, I flew a total of 7 missions, 7 bombing missions. And they were all without any fighter escort. Fighter escort didn't come in until the end of '43. Before that, the bombers flew alone. And then babies would come in to really meet you at the channel and fight you all the way into the target. There were 7 tough battles. There were no easy ones in these days. That Luftwaffe, I can tell you, the Russian Luftwaffe, they were good flyers. Those guys were tough. They got like us. After a while, they were putting people in. You're going to do this. And they enlisted people to be in there because they were losing people. But they were tough. They were first guys. They were really some terrific flyers. And they had an unwritten rule, you know, between us and the enemy. If you got in trouble, you got hit bad. Things you weren't going to make it back. All you had to do was lower your landing gear and drop out of formation. 2 fighters would come in and escort you down to the ground. It was a pretty good deal. One time, they had down in Africa, they lined up their child, this bomb group did, one day, and they turned around and come on a straight line for chow or noontime, and the old Germans came over and wiped them out in the air. So they shipped them back to England. And they started the outfit over, and they were flying in our area, and And they were told about the unwritten rule that you drop your landing gear when you're in trouble. So they go out on a raid, and this one plane, I guess he chickened out, because he dropped his landing gear, and a couple planes escorted him down. He goes down, gets 50 feet off the ground, and they take off. Figure he's going to land. Well, what does he do? He raises his landing gear, shoots it back towards the... Well, after that, they were really picked on every time they went out. And if they went along with us, we always felt good because we knew the fighters were going to go after them. Every group and every plane had a marking on it, and the plane is marked that you could identify them, and we knew which groups they were from. In 1942 and 43, one out of every 100 airmen completed 25 missions. That's not a pretty good average. No fighter escorts hit this route. One out of every 100 men completed 25 missions. If you were lucky enough to complete 25 missions, they sent you back to the States. And you went on what we called the bond selling tour. They flew around the country selling war bonds after you had the 25. And I can tell you there weren't very many war bond sellers back here. It was pretty tough to get 25 in. The Air Corps came up with the largest and longest air battle of World War II at the time. And that was the ball bearing works at Schweinfurt, Germany. Now, ball bearings are very important to a war machine like they are to you. Every day you drive your car, you're using ball bearings. The wheels, your engine, the transmission, and other components on the car have bearings. So all the trucks and all the Army tanks and all of the airplanes have ball bearings, and they wear out, they fail, and they have to be replaced. They turned around. We went in to Schweinfurt in August, and that was a tough target. It didn't get it finished out, so back in October 1443, we went back in and tried to finish it. Well, after that raid was over, the Germans started buying ball bearings from Sweden and Switzerland. Now, they were neutral, right? Well, they had to take care of their stuff and survive. But they did, they sold bearings to the Germans. That kept the war machine. No bearings, it slows the war machine down. And October 1443 is known as Black Thursday. That is the largest air battle of World War II. And it was reported that we lost over 60 bombers. And we shot down up to 150 German planes. My plane was credited with 5. I thought it was 3, and they said it was 5. Can't keep track of that stuff. When you lose 60 bombers, you just have lost over 600 men on one mission in one day. That's a catastrophe. That almost wiped the 8th, 305th out. They got reorganized and stayed back in, so they ended up doing a good job. Now you see this airplane here, and if you read what it says, I got that out of an article here recently where they were talking about this air raid. And they come up with that picture, and they have something written on top and on the bottom. And see if I can find it here. If you can all see that and read it, maybe. If you can. I don't have it back here. But it's talking about if a whole squadron went out and didn't return from a contingency, what would happen? And it tells you down on the bottom that the 305th Bomb Group was almost decimated. And that says 69 years ago, but that's wrong. It's 67 years ago. 69 years ago is when the war started. So 67 years ago, we lost all of those bombers, all of their men, and they turned around and called it Black Thursday. So the annals of the history of the air battles, that was the greatest battle of the war. It was the longest battle of the war. It was a tough one. Our squadron had all the planes lost except one. that returned back to the base. And the 305th Bomb Group had 2 returns. So you can see it was pretty horrendous. Over 100 planes were assigned to go on that, or 300 planes were assigned to go on that raid. But only about 200 made it to the target. Why? The heavy London fog and a mix-up in coordination of assembling the formation, plus a heavy enemy fighter presence. Those fighters knew we were coming, and they came all the way to the Channel, English Channel, and they fought their bombers all the way through France and Belgium to the target in Germany. They knew we were coming. Why? Because there was oodles of spies, and England was covered with spies. They had a heck of a network there. And to show you exactly what happened in our outfit, we finally finagled the day room. In them days of 42, 43, we didn't have it. It was tough. And we finagled the day room where the guys could work when they weren't working, and turn around, listen to radio, shoot some pool, ping pong, have a coke, whatever. And one of the guys in the group was an artist. And he drew a GI garbage can about that tall on the wall. And in that garbage can, he had 3 flags: the German, the Italian, and the Japanese. And they scrounged up a clock somewhere, I don't know where they got it, but at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when they finished up making up that day ring, they hung that clock on the wall above the flags. Well, don't you know at 7 o'clock, after 7 o'clock in the evening, to show you how fast they were, Axis, Sally, and George came on the air. They'd come on every evening and talk to you and play music and all kind of stuff. Now, Sally was a German and George was an Englishman. I don't know how he got tied up into that. But anyhow, they'd come on, and they were the counterpart of Tokyo Rose. Tokyo Rose. And they turned around and come on, and they said, well, we see you guys in the 305th got a new day room. That's real nice. Hope you're good. By the way, that garbage can on the wall, one of these days there will be 3 other flags. Incidentally, when you hung that clock, you should have set the right time. It's about 5 minutes past. And this happens at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 7:30, they're on the radio telling us about it. They had some spies over there. And those guys met us at the Channel, and they knew we were coming because of the spy situation. Lazy Baby, State of Washington, was severely damaged by anti-aircraft flak and 20-millimeter fighter plane shells. The nose was blown out. There you are. And wrecked in on the nose. It was blown out. It blew a lot of stuff out of the nose. It blew the bomb sight out of the nose. It severely injured the bombardier and the navigator. The plane had one engine's fuel tank was hit and ruptured. The fuel was spraying back over the plane. You could see it looking out the window of the White House firing the waste gun that day. And it looked like a smoke. Here it was fuel that was sort of atomizing because of the pressure of the propellers of the plane. If it had ignited, which we wouldn't be here. So we were lucky there. The Lord was with us on that. The bomb bay doors were torn open, damaged, would not operate. 2 engines lost their controls and could not be controlled by the pilot. And you see here, the bomb bay, that's the interior view of the bomb bay, of one that's not damaged. There's the bomb bay doors hanging open. There's a view, partial view of the bomb bay. Now those 2 rope guides there, they're not supposed to be there. That's not, when the plane's flying, it's not good. Get the first in? Yeah, okay. One engine caught fire. There were many holes all over the plane from the front to the tail section, caused by flak. Now those anti-aircraft shells, when they come up, they burst. If they get a direct hit on the plane, and they explode the plane. That's it. Now, they miss the plane most of the times. When they come up in between the formation of all the planes, and when they explode, they turn around and fly and break up into hundreds of pieces. And those pieces are flying through the air like bullets. They penetrate into the planes, they cause damage, injury, death. Now, when they come up and burst, you see this plane here on the left. Can you see that plane? It's white plane. Right there. You see these black clouds? All these black clouds, those are bombs bursting. When that bomb bursts, the heat factor and fire and everything else that's in that explosion causes those black clouds. And can you imagine flying a plane through them? It's like flying through a hailstorm. Bing, bang, bang, that stuff is hitting us from all over. And that's just a bad situation, but that's what it has to be. When it seemed the plane could not continue to fly, the pilot activated the bailout belt system. Unknown to him, it was damaged and was not functioning. He thought everybody bailed out. And he thought to himself, he'd ride the plane out. However, no one heard the bell. The co-pilot and the top gunner are located in the pilot's area. So on the pilot's word, he told them to jump, and they did. They were captured by the Germans when they hit the ground. They were put in a prison camp, and they were freed at the end of the war. And understand the co-pilot, when he jumped, he must have landed in a tree, broke some ribs in an arm. I don't know what all happened to him. I've never seen him since. But they were put into a prison camp and freed at the end of the war. The tail gunner and I left our gun positions. We couldn't get any answer on the intercom system. The communications were down and blown up. And all the hits we were taking, we figured that there's something wrong. So he and I went forward. We come into the pilot's compartment, and what do we find? With the navigator strapped into the co-pilot seat. His arms were mutilated. They were hanging with the skin and tendons. His one wrist was hand was gone. Other injuries. We tried to stop the bleeding the best we could. And the bombardier, he was lying in the nose on his belly. His buttocks were completely blown off. He got hit with a shell on the left side where his wallet was, put a hole through the wallet, and it blew his whole body off. The bombardier was exhausted completely. After he carried them, he helped the navigator into the co-pilot seat. I don't know how he could do that. With the type of injury he had, I couldn't even figure out how he could do it. But he did it. He was exhausted. It was apparent that the bombardier had to be moved from the severely damaged nose. His wounds could not be taken care of in that nose. That air pressure coming in through the blown-out nose and everything in a mess. So I turned around and lifted the bombardier onto my back. I brought his arms around in front, wrapped them, locked them in, and I carried him from the pilot's area, from the nose, back through the bomb bay into the radio room where he could be laid on the floor. Now, coming through that bomb bay, you're walking on a catwalk. I call it the catwalk. It runs from the pilot's compartment back to the radio room, and that bomb bay is about 12 feet long. And that rail that you're walking on is about 9 inches wide. And it's like walking a tightrope with a trapeze. Now we're going along at 50 feet off the ground. We're doing over 150 miles an hour. The ground's going by at 150 miles an hour. Bomb bay doors are open, and you're looking down at the ground. And you're carrying this guy in your back. One slip, and that's it. Well, I'm here today. Got him back in the radio room, and I proceeded to attend to his wounds. I poured salt out of my pipe all over his wounds. There wasn't a bandage big enough to do anything, and I carried a towel around my neck. I took the towel and made it into a pad, and put it down on top of that salt out of my towel, patted it down good. Then I took a parachute bag, and I cut it into strips, and tied it around his body to hold the towel in place. And he survived. He survived, and that was good. My face, the reason I had that towel, my face was frostbitten from another mission because my oxygen mask hose was cut off by a piece of flak that came through the chip. And I needed oxygen. You can't breathe up there. There was no air. You have to have oxygen, so we carried extra masks. Now that mask is rubber. And you have an open plane 50 degrees below zero. And when you take that mask off, your face gets frozen, frostbitten, or whatever. So you sweat under that mask. Bombardier survived and lost his life in a truck accident after the war. Something else. We wore heated suits with leather coats. You see up there the leather jacket, pants, and boots. That's all fur lined inside, wool lined. And the heated suit underneath is like a pair of long johns. You all know what long johns are. Long underwear people wear in cold country. And that has wires running through it, just like the heated blanket you have at home. It plugs into the power supply of the plane. And over that heated suit, you pull on that leather suit. And if you notice, that guy has a yellow Mae West ball right here. That's a flotation device. And if you get down in the water, you pop a little cylinder and it blows it up. You don't lay that down the plane anywhere because it could be damaged and it's of no use to you. So we wore them all the time. And you can see he's pretty well dressed up there. He's got that heated suit underneath. That's a waist gun position. Now, you have no climate control, open airplanes. It's not like today's airplanes where you fly comfort. So we worked under a pretty serious condition. Now, the radio room was hit by a barrage of flak. The radio operator in the radio room had over 20 pieces of splinters, flak, 20-millimeter shrapnel in his body, all over his body. He became delirious, and he decided to jump out of the plane with a chest parachute. Now, we wore backup system again. We wore two parachutes. One with a harness on the back. It's a big chute, takes you down comfortable. And then we carried a small pack in the front and strapped on the chest, which was a chest parachute. That was smaller. It took you down. You just hit the ground a little harder when you landed. He turned around and got delirious, and he decided he was going to jump, and he went by me. And I said no, but he ignored me. And when he went back to the rear door to open it to go out, I went back and grabbed him. He resisted me, and I slapped him in the face to bring him back and calm him down. As he went by me, I said no, and he ignored me. Anyhow, I brought him back to the radio room. I snapped that chest pack, and I pushed it in his face. And that sort of settled it. I noticed it was torn by a flak hit, but he went by me. He never saw that. If he'd have jumped, there'd have been a bloody spot on the ground. So, thank God that I was able to see the tear and stop it. Now, this, shoot up the next one. No, this one, 17. There's the back end of the 17, and there's one entrance door and one exit door. That's it. That's the main door to go in and out of the plane, back with that yellow arrow there. You see forward of the star, you see a black spot, that's the waist gunner's window. for his hunting site. Now the radio operator, he is going to jump, and he's up front at the plane right up in here, the radio room. He goes back past the waist gunner, back to the door, and that's where he's going to leave. There's only one other way out of that plane, and that's a hatch. It's up underneath the pilot's compartment. You slide into it, down and go. But he was going to jump there, and of course I stopped him. Thank the Lord I was able to do that. He just was determined. The ball turret gunner was trapped in the damaged turret. It would not go up or down. It was stuck on the outside of the plane. And during flight, the thing is stored. So he's in it, and he can't get out of it. And now we're going to have to get him out. It's an emergency because when that plane goes down on the ground, it's going to hit the ground because the landing gears are inoperable. They've been hit and damaged. It won't work. So you're going to have to come in on your belly. And if that happens, and that ball turret's down there, he's going to die. So the other waist gunner and I hand cranked that heavy turret, used a big bar we had, and we finally got it up into the plane and got the hatch open where he could get out. So that ball turret is round, just like a ball. It does a 360-degree turn all the way around, and its guns are out here. They do a 90-degree drop, up and down. So now the turret's going around, the guns are going up and down. They cover the whole underside of that airplane. So when the enemy comes in, they can track him whichever way he's going, because they have full control of that ball on 130 or 360-degree turn. The guns coming up and down, they can cover everything. Then the one engine caught fire. The pilot put the plane into a dive from 26,000 feet. And he leveled off under 3,000 feet. The heavy air pressure extinguished the fire. Heavy air pressure in the dive. When you catch an engine on fire, it's the only thing you can do is dive it over, and at heavy speed, that air pressure will dark it out. But it's supposed to, and it does most of the time. The pilot had enough of control of at least one engine that would respond to his commands. We had to get as far away from any target areas. Why? Because those people down on the ground are mad. And here comes guys floating out of the air on parachutes. When they hit the ground, those people attacked them many times, and they were severely injured, and I think possibly fatalities. So it was a bad situation. So we wanted to get as far away from any target areas because we don't want to encounter that type of situation no matter what happens. The pilot brought the plane down under 50 feet off the ground to keep enemy fighters from attacking us from underneath. That fighter can only come in so far because if he gets somebody, he's going to hit the ground. So he turns around and brings it down under 50 feet of the ground to keep those fighters. And to save fuel, we jettisoned everything in a plane that was not tied down, including guns, ammunition, everything, to save fuel and get further away. We continued on hedgehogging over houses, power lines, buildings, and trees until we saw what appeared to be a flat area. Which turned out to be a potato field. And the farmer, his horses, and his family were working the field. He was plowing the field at the time we came over and landed in his potato field. That picture, if you look at it on the right rear side, you'll see the farmer and his horses. It's on that picture. The potato field softly plowed dirt piled up into the bomb bay because the bomb bay doors were hanging open. And that brought the plane and turned it into a 90-degree turn. Because the plane, when we came down, was headed into the woods. If it would have hit the woods, it would have finished us. For as bad as we were busted up, shot up, and everything, it would have really finished us. So that dirt turned the plane away from the woods, which, thank the Lord, was a good thing. You see here, Lazy Baby. Where's the front? There's a view of the front. It's on the ground. There's a side view of the rear. And that airplane was tough built. It did not break up when we hit the ground. That airplane to me was so strong the way it was built that it was like the Model A Ford was to the air industry, like the Model A Ford was to the automobile. That was a tough built airplane. That's why they called it the Flying Fortress. Would you believe it, our luck was all with us? When we got out of the plane after it hit the ground, we found out that we were on the Swiss-German border. The Swiss guards came first, and they turned around and took the wounded to a hospital in Basel, Switzerland. The rest of the crew was sent to an internment camp. And that ended that day's bombing mission. Now, I don't know how it could get much worse than what we just went through, unless we'd have had a direct hit and exploded the plane. Now, they took and salvaged that plane, the Swiss did. They took the engines off, they took the wings off, and they hooked onto the fuselage and towed it to a factory where they disassembled it. And when they disassembled it, the workers found an 88-millimeter anti-craft shell that penetrated the belly of the plane and went up and launched itself under the floor of the radio room. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you, Lord. A good mixed job. If it had, we wouldn't be here today. After some time, I personally escaped from that internment camp. Sometime later, I was leading a 7 airmen on an escape mission headed into France. The French person was at the rear end of the single line. And as we exited the woods up the mountain, you come to a clearing that's in front of the border. So many yards long, and it had grass in it that was over 3 feet tall. And we got down as soon as we came from out of the woods into the grass. You got down on your belly, you crawled on your hands and knees for the fence. Now the fence was nothing but a border marker. It was about 4 feet high. We're going along, and all of a sudden, one of the airmen didn't listen to the instructions and stood up. There was a border guard house about 30-40 yards down from where we were crossing. And happened to be a guard came out at the time and saw him. He called the rest of the guards, and they went out and chased these guys back into the woods where we just came from. Then they caught them, and they caught the Frenchman. They took him back to the guardhouse. I found out later on that they were taking him back to a prison. Now, you know, no matter what you're doing, there's always got to be one goofball in the bunch. In this case, we had a goofball. He stood up when he should have. And what he didn't cause those guys to go through the death. So, try to check to make sure you don't have any goofballs when you're doing something. I had to write everything down because now that's the memory of my age. You start forgetting things. Those 2 guards, I was dressed all in black. Black shoes, black pants, black jacket, and a black long trench coat, black hat. And when that guy stood up and them guards started coming out of that guardhouse, I rolled over face down and I covered up. And those dudes ran right by me. They didn't see me. They caught those guys and brought them back. After the guards returned to the guardhouse, I laid there for about an hour. And I looked around and I said, well, it looks like it's clear. And I got up and run for that border fence. I vaulted the fence, and as I went across the top of that fence, there were two guards standing back at the edge of the woods that I had not seen them. And they fired at me. Thank the Lord, my luck held, they were 4 shots. That was a close one. I went into the mountain, the other side of the border, and I was there about 5 days. I was in that mountain, and I turned around and had no food, got sick. I made it to a small village at night. It was nighttime, where I came in contact with a young lad. He turned around and after some conversation guided me to his parents' home. And the mother, she had fed me hot soup and whatever else she had, and she cured me. And I'm thankful that I was an experienced hunter because it helped me survive. 5 days without food, everything gets a little bit rough. After some time, contact was made with the 8th Air Corps' London headquarters. And on a pre-arranged schedule, London sent a B-24 bomber to the Lyon airport at 10 o'clock at night, right on the dot. Everything happens at nighttime, so you can't be seen. And I was down along the runway, down towards the end of the runway, along the side. That plane came in, hit the runway, gone down, it slowed down, and then got down across, almost across from me, I started to run. And I run out and intersected the side of the plane where the door was. And 2 guys reached out and grabbed my extended hands and popped me into the plane. The plane kept moving along. We went back to London and had the same trip, and nothing further happened. And you know, the funny part is, it was actually October 14, 1944, when I landed back in London. The exact day, 1 year from the day we went on that faithful mission on October 14, 1943. Just a coincidence, I guess. I was reading an article here that just came to me recently